Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of Marketing Unleashed. I'm Jeff C. from Mainly Pinterest Tips, and I'm here with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Elisa Meredith. We made it through the holidays. It is a brand new year. Excited to be with you guys. Thank you guys for showing up today. As always, want to make sure that we answer as many questions as we can for you guys and make this show all about you. And we'd love for you to sprinkle it over the interwebs and ask your questions down below. We'd love to talk to you today, but it's a new year. We're going to be talking about some kind of resolutions and some ideas to get your Pinterest off on the right track. There's Trona is here with us. She goes, Happy New Year, lovely people. I'm sure she's talking about me more than you.
No doubt.
But thanks. She is a faithful viewer of the show. Thanks, Trona, for coming. But yeah, so we do have some really cool things that we want to make sure that you guys, we don't forget to tell you about before we get going today. So one of the things is we have brand new templates for January, and you can find those at bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit, all lowercase, all smashed together, bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit. Elisa, tell us a little bit about these new templates.
They're beautiful. And
of course, they're always beautiful.
Yeah, our designer Kier came up with them, and they were all based on some trends we were seeing. So let's see, there were like for travel, we have car date night and dream vacation. So I guess people are starting to think ahead of that. So like searches for dream vacation are up 7 times year over year right now.
Mine is just a dream vacation to get a haircut. That's all I want. That would be a vacation for me.
I know what you mean, totally. But yeah, just some of the Pinterest predictions and some other trends that Pinterest has come out with, as well as, of course, some Valentine's Day ideas, because that's trending right now. So, yep, they're over there at the Toolkit. They are also going to be in Tailwind Create very shortly. We got Tucker working on that as we speak. But we've got 11 this week because there were just too many to keep it to 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I always find the education trends difficult, especially right now with COVID and a lot of people not in school. Right. But the ones that are trending right now are like stories with moral lessons. So that's a 4x increase year over year. And then outdoor education. So people taking advantage of kind of less structured time to learn different things. And of course, parents getting more and more involved in the education process. So
because they have to.
Because they have to.
They have to. Yeah.
That's right. So as always, the designs are about the way they look, but it's also about what is trending right now to help you be more relevant on Pinterest, which is fun and effective.
So talk about that, because you mentioned real quick that you mentioned we have these templates you can download at bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit, but also you said, hey, they're on Create. So somebody may not know what that is who's joining us. So talk about why that's like a step ahead. I mean, you get ahead of the game when you have Tailwind Create and the templates are already pre-populated in there. So talk about that a little bit.
That's right. So when you use a design program on its own, typically you'll go in and you'll choose a template and then you'll put in your title and all the other stuff, thinking about the content that you're going to promote. Whereas in Tailwind Create, it starts with your website. So you put in your URL of what you want to promote. It will pull in the title for you. So as a starting place, it'll also pull in the images on your page. And then when you hit create, it will populate thousands of potential pin designs for you. Then you can filter by content type, by industry, by the design type that you want to use. And then you can tweak them however you want. But basically you're starting from very nearly done as opposed to starting from a template that you have to then customize. It's customized for you and it's created for the content that you want to promote. So when we make these toolkit templates, for the month, we also add them into Tailwind Create, and you can search for underneath content type. It will be like January trending, or also you can look for pin toolkit templates to see them all.
Awesome. So that's a big time saver when you can do it all right inside of the tool. And if you don't have a design program, you can just do it right in Create, which saves time.
Yeah, and then not to mention the fact that you can just schedule it out of Tailwind. Yeah. And if you're not using Tailwind yet, you can get the free trial and use Create with the free trial. So I highly encourage you to do that. You get 100 free pins and no credit card required. So just go and play around. It's super fun. I love it when I get a chance to play in there.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to some of our folks who are joining in. We've got Jeanette from, she says, hi, Jeff and Elisa. And Elisa is somewhat fuzzy, but her screen is fuzzy. So, so I don't know. It's something with the upload. We'll try to, it's
my new beauty filter.
This is what happens when I need to be fuzzy. I am fuzzy. I need to be more fuzzy. But Laura Patterson says, Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year to you, Laura. Very, very cool. Thank you, Katrina, and this is a great idea. So what she has done, she's like, hey, this is some great stuff. I'm going to call in my friends and let them know all about the show going on. So Katrina, you get the gold star, the blue Pinterest, the blue Tailwind star for today. Thank you so much for doing that. Awesome for you guys doing that, and happy New Year to everyone. We got some people watching on YouTube from Brazil. Thank you guys for watching over here. So a lot of people chiming in. Denise from Illinois. Thank you guys for so you're fuzzy to a lot of people. So I don't know what's going on. The wrong person is fuzzy. We'll have to fight through it. So yeah,
I could leave and come back.
You could try it, but let's first talk about. I wanted to bring in this other thing that we wanted to talk about today. Is we also have this new Pinterest planner for you go to bit.ly/pin planner 2021. Yeah, this gets you off on the right start. So talk about this. This is different from the templates. This is another resource that Tailwind offers.
Yeah, so it's just another way to kind of plan ahead and think about what kind of content should I be creating, what kind of pin should I be creating, and this is if you're one of those people who likes to get ahead of the game and be ready for next month.
Right.
It'll tell you like what is expected to be trending, so what you should be making.
Very cool. We have that for Pinterest, but we also have one for Instagram. And so you guys want to make sure to check that out as well. Elisa, why don't you pop out and pop in while I kind of go through some comments and just to make sure and see if we can get you defuzzified. So see if that happens. Oh, we've got my friend really quick. Carrie Ray is here. Happy New Year to you, Carrie. Thank you so much. Okay, come right back. We've got people from Panama who is joining in today. Thanks, Maria, for joining in here. Colorado. How cold is it in Colorado? I mean, I used to live in Denver for summer, and if you would just, blink your eyes, the weather would change in Colorado. So looky here. We've got some people from Orcas Island, Washington State, representing your vegan family. Awesome. Very, very cool. Coastal North Carolina. Yes. So Libby asked, can you share that Pinterest planner link? And we will do that. No, you're still fuzzy, Elisa. I don't know what's going on.
I don't either. I'm not on Wi-Fi. I don't know.
It's the interwebs. So we'll just continue on. But I do want to say one more thing. So we're chock full of resources for you guys today. I want to make sure that you also know about this. And I was they were very, very clear that they wanted me to say this. We have, if you're new to Tailwind, you have a buy one annual plan and you get half off your second annual plan. That's amazing. And I know people are like, oh my gosh, if I haven't tried Tailwind, I'm going to do this. So if you buy one annual plan, you get half off your second annual plan. That's going on right now. But what do you go, what? I'm already a customer. That stinks. So I want to have that. Well, great news. They figured out a way for you guys to do that. If you already have an annual plan, you are still eligible and you'll get 50% off an additional plan. And all you need to do is need to go to an email newyear@tailwindapp.com. That's newyear@tailwindapp.com. You want to give them your Tailwind email address that you use to log in and the username that you want to upgrade, and they will take care of the rest. So how about that? It's over and we're still giving presents. Isn't that amazing?
I have never seen us run a sale like this. If you have questions, Susan is hanging out in the comments to answer those for you, and we will kind of reiterate this near the end of the broadcast. But yeah, I've never seen us do this. So if you've been using Tailwind, you like it for Pinterest, and you're not using it for Instagram, I highly, highly recommend that you check it out, because I don't know if we'll ever see this deal again. But also our Instagram product is pretty amazing. Talk about planner. We have the planner you can download, but there's also a planner built right into the product. It's very, very cool. So I highly suggest you check it out. Or you could use it for a client, or, it's a great deal. Check it out.
Yeah. So if you are like, I know like people are like, oh my gosh, I wish I was a new client of Tailwind. No, you can get it too. So go to newyear@tailwindapp.com. If you're a new person, you've been just watching the show, maybe you came in late and you haven't tried Tailwind before. Can they get this deal if they just go to the homepage of Tailwind? Is that how they can sign up for this, or is there a special page for it?
So no, you don't have to worry about it. Just
okay.
Get the annual plan, add a second one. It will be half off. And the same thing if you're going to upgrade. If you're already a customer, you just have to send an email to that address.
Gotcha.
New Year.
All right. Tons of stuff going on. Very, very cool. Want to make sure we don't have any. We've got some more people coming in all the way from Amsterdam. We've got some people from Jamaica. Very, very cool. So, yes, this is recorded. You can watch this replay on all the social channels. It's going to go on YouTube like we're doing it right now. So do not worry if we speak too fast or you miss a link. You can always watch a replay, and we will also be monitoring the comments in case you need to go back if you have any questions while we're going along. So, all right, let's get into our topic today. So we're talking about some new, how do we kind of start planning our new year for Pinterest? So
yes, this New Year's resolution thing will have nothing to do with weight loss or saving money. It's about having more success on Pinterest. So I have 3 big ones, like 3 overarching things to consider. And I know you guys have ideas too. And I know Jeff probably has an idea or 2 in there. So I think let's start with the first one, Jeff.
Yes. So the first one is, I'm trying to pull up my notes as I vamp. Tell us what, you got to take responsibility for your actions, right? I mean, that's the first one. I mean, so we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to get a little nerdy and talk about, things to track. Now, I do this a lot. I feel like this pin this is going to work. This is what I need. This one is amazing. People will love it. They'll click it and I'll sell all my stuff. And I'll be rich beyond my wildest dreams. But that's me feeling things. But then I look at my stats and I'm like, why in the world do they love that hideous pin over what I have done and spent time on? And so, our first thing is to take responsibility. And look at those results.
Yeah. And I think that comes up because sometimes I think we want someone else to tell us what to do. So we watch shows like this, or we listen to other experts, we read blog posts, we join membership group, we take courses because we want someone to tell us, do these 4 or 5 things and you will succeed. And then if it doesn't work for us, it's like, oh, Pinterest hates me. Right. But we know that's not the case, right? So there is a way to succeed. So it's really start with best practices, start with what people recommend and what's working for them. Then you've got to really look at what's working for you. So think about what is your important metric, right? Are you on Pinterest to get brand awareness? Are you on there to get engagement? Are you on there to get traffic? Or are you on there to get sales? What is your number? And then really consistently track what is building that for you. So places to look are Pinterest analytics. They're quite extensive. You can also look in Tailwind. We have a top pins report, which is very simple and has a lot fewer options, but a lot of people like it because of that. It's just very simply which pins are driving the most traffic and engagement to your content. You can also look in Google Analytics, which I really like that one because there's so much you can look at. If you look into
your favorite report, I mean, what do you go to in Google Analytics for people? Because when people hear Google Analytics, that's it gets into that super nerdy territory, and you open it up and there's this dashboard and it's like, oh my gosh. So what do you look at?
So I look at a couple of things. The main one I look at is under acquisition. There's an option for social. So I look in social, then I look in network referrals, and then I choose Pinterest. And then I can see what content is bringing in that traffic from Pinterest. I love that one. The other thing I do is look at my custom dashboard from Christy Hill. And you can just
she's got some great ones.
Yeah, Google Pinterest dashboard by Christy Hill, and you will find it. It will show you not just the content that's bringing in your traffic, but also the individual pins that are bringing your traffic in, which is really interesting because maybe you'll have 2 or 3 different pin designs for a piece of content, but this will allow you to see which image and which individual pin. So it is super handy. And then keep track of what you're doing. So Jeff and I are working on an organic Pinterest project right now, and we're going to be looking at, okay, here's a thing we're going to try this month, right? And then the following month, we're going to look at, all right, do we see any change from that? Is this something we want to keep doing? Yes, no, maybe. Do we want to try something else? And keeping track of the metrics that are important to us is going to be absolutely key. And we start with, best practices, what Pinterest suggests, but then we're going to have to modify for what we see is actually working for us. So that I think is the number one resolution for any kind of marketing, is just take responsibility. Don't just listen to me and Jeff, because maybe we don't know what we're talking about.
Listen to me. No.
Listen to you, yeah. But it's different for every business. So just take responsibility, keep track of your results, adjust. And I think this one's equally as important, Jeff. Like, stop doing more of what is not working.
You can't. Yeah, I think it's funny, and I do this too. Is you
you
feel it. If I just do it harder, it will work better.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. You just we've had some great experts on our show who talk about this. Is like they always are like testing things and looking at the data, and so it's. I mean,
have to be hard either.
Some things may work that make no sense, and like something that Pinterest says not to do that you may be doing, and like it's still working. Let it still work. That's fine. I mean, as long as it's still working, as long as you're testing it,
but also, you're not breaking any rules.
Yeah, keep going, and it's different for everybody. That's why you have to test. But if it's not working, if you're creating something that the experts are saying and it's not working for your brand. So try something different, and you'll be surprised. And I am constantly surprised about things that work on Pinterest that make no sense to me, but you just have to let it go.
Yeah, let it go. That's right. So that would be a good rule in Pinterest marketing and in life. Like, don't double down because it's not working.
Right.
Try something else. But another one I want to point out that, Jeff and I were in a mastermind group together 100 years ago. And one of the things yes, one of the things that I really internalized from that group of smart marketers was to outsource tasks that are below your pay grade, that you hate, or that you're not good at.
Yes. And you may need to ask somebody, like we had a mastermind, and you may think you're good at something, but you're really not. And I always tell this story when I was speaking, because I have my Manly Pinterest Tip logo, and I remember when I made it the first time, I had it and it was blue, but it was this hideous, like what a Smurf looks like when it gets choked.
Oh, it wasn't that bad.
It was, but I said to Elise, I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "No, try a different color." And so you've got to have people who will tell you the truth about that kind of stuff. And so you've got to have people who will tell you the truth. That's the biggest thing. But also, like Elisa says, if the stuff you're not good at, or that you hate, or somebody tells you you're not good at it, listen to them. You don't listen to every critical thing, but listen to people you trust. You know what? I'm spending way too much time on designing this when I really could just send this to somebody who's really, really good at it, and they can make 50 of them. And half of them I can do it.
Yeah, or use Tailwind Create, right? That's really built for people who are not designers. But like in my agency business, I have a bookkeeper because I am hopeless.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So if there's something in your business, this is just a little side reminder. I know it's not specific to Pinterest, but you don't have to do what you're not good at. Right?
Hey, so on this topic, I want to bring up this comment from Elizabeth, and she goes, is it crucial to brand your pins, or can you experiment outside of your brand kit without hurting your Pinterest exposure? Because we're talking about finding what works and doing what works and ignoring the stuff that's not. So this, I think, makes sense. So what are your thoughts about experimenting outside of your brand kit?
So I would say that every pin needs some branding on it, but that can just be your URL, or it can be a logo. There needs to be something on it that tells people this is my content, but it doesn't always have to be pink and red or blue and green. Think about what is most important to you on Pinterest. Is it that strictly brand awareness? I want people to know every time they see a pin that this is my business's pin. I want them to think about me. Or do you want traffic? Because if you want traffic more than you want just that strict brand awareness, which is a fine and valid goal on its own, but a lot of people would prefer the traffic, experiment. like go out a little outside your comfort zone. I know when we talked to Christy Hill, she said, she tried Tailwind Create and she made some images that she would never have made. Right.
Right.
They weren't like contrary to her brand kit, but they weren't what she would have come up with, and they were doing really well. So if you're like, it depends on what you want. What do you think, Jeff?
And I think, and the thing is, it's hard to gauge what the group think is going to be popular. Just for example, so like on Instagram, for a long time, it was a curated feed and all that stuff. That doesn't work for stories. First of all, it was like trying to make the really curated stories. And now the ones that perform better, and I talked to Shalene Johnson, if you listen to her talk about this, is that the stuff that she makes inside of the app that looks kind of raw and behind the scenes and stuff, that performs better. So it's those things that you think people would be more drawn to polished, like really like Snapchatty news story-ish kind of stuff, but they like that raw content. So you just never know. The same thing with videos on Pinterest. I'm seeing way more organic looking stuff for Pinterest. And it's like, is that going to take over? I don't know. I just have to keep testing and see what happens.
I love that. I love that trend because anyone can do that.
Right, exactly.
The example I like to use in a webinar I do is this lava lamp. It's a DIY lava lamp, and it's just a photo cover. And then it's just this little kid at a kitchen table making a lava lamp. And, mom, you can tell it's mom taking a cell phone video, and it's fine. And people love it. I find that very encouraging.
Yeah. So Wendy goes, I love it. Thank you for everything you do and help us. Oh, thank you, Wendy, for that bit of encouragement. You are helpful. Wendy. You're helpful.
You're helpful, Wendy.
Carrie goes, 2021 is already outside of my comfort zone.
I know.
That's good, though. That's good, Carrie. Mabel asked this question. When you compare your product with someone else's product, is that good? So I think it's always good.
Uh-oh.
All the time. Are you there? Can you
hear
me?
You were breaking up for me. Maybe it's me.
You're pretty blurry, so it's all you.
It's always me.
Somebody said that you may have all these people doing virtual learning again in your area. So maybe people are, doing their stuff.
Yeah,
but I think it's great to compare, but as long as you don't copy and you can kind of judge. But once again, something that works for one company may not work for your own. So once again, test and experiment.
And I wonder if Mabel is talking about in a pin or in your content, should you compare like why you should use Tailwind instead of Hootsuite? I'm not sure if that's the intent of the question. I mean, you can certainly try content like that. You do want to stay on the positive side though, right? Anytime you're marketing on Pinterest, you want to always keep it upbeat and positive.
Right. So is video on Pinterest US only, or do I have to enable something on settings to have it? I don't think it's for US only.
No, I thought it was pretty widely available.
Yeah. All right. So we're talked about stop doing what we're under the kind of the first, we told you there's be three things for kind of a new year. First, we're talking about taking responsibility and stopping what is not working. And then one of the things that may not be working is you may want to support some of those tasks that you aren't good at, or that you need, it's just taking way too much time to do. At least I mentioned bookkeeping, which is just evil. And
it is evil, but you know what?
You can do that.
You know what, Jeff? There are some people who like it.
I know, and they're strange. They're very strange.
They're wonderful.
They are wonderful. Yeah.
So what really helped me was to think about, okay, how much is money-wise, how much is my time worth when I'm doing what I'm most valuable at, right? And then I think about which would I rather spend my time doing? And can I then, thinking about that, can I afford to outsource? Yeah, I can't afford not to, really. And that's like a big step for a lot of people, especially when they're newer in their business. But just get honest about it and think about what could you be doing with that time that you're spending doing something you don't like, you're not good at, instead of doing what makes you money.
Yeah. Here's a great question from Beth. And we talked about having new users watching the show. And so Beth goes, I'm super new in trying how to use Tailwind and Pinterest, having no luck getting engagement. What of your self tutorials would you recommend? Also, is there a way to get some help from Tailwind staff getting started? There's a ton of great stuff on their website. First of all, second of all, there's a ton of great stuff on the YouTube channel. Tailwind's YouTube channel has some great tutorials as well. So where else, Elisa, would you point them?
Yeah. So if you're brand new, send me an email, would you? Elisa@tailwindapp.com, and we'll get you some help. Absolutely. Our customer success team is amazing. So we'll get you some help there. But I also want to recommend the Everything Pinterest webinar, which I will drop in the chat if I can find it. Yep.
Cool. So here's another question that I think, since we're talking about using our time wisely, stop doing more of what isn't working. This is from, I think, and Norita James says, how can we use the scheduler effectively? Well, it's got a new tool in there where it kind of helps you, guide you if you're pinning things too close together. So that's one.
Yes. So Smart Guide will help you not pin too close together. One of the things that I really love and that is a favorite feature of a lot of people is called interval pinning. So if you know that you're going to pin, or you want to pin to the most relevant board first, right? That sends Pinterest the best signals about what your content is about. But then there might be other relevant boards you should save to that will give Pinterest a little bit more context about the content of your pin. So rather than having to come back later or to schedule separately, what you can do is you can add that to your Tailwind drafts, and then you can say, I want to add to this board, and this board, and then set an interval so that it will pin one today and one in a few weeks and one a few weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a kind of a data study coming out soon, which is very exciting, that it is showing that for the research we did, most of the action is happening on your pins within the first 2 months, right? So something that I'm experimenting with, Jeff and I will kind of experiment on with this together, is sharing out, okay, I want these pins to go to these boards, but saving them at a much larger interval. To see, like, if you can get the most out of that first one, and then as that one's starting to die down, can you add in a different pin and have that go out a few months later? So that's something that we are trying. We're going to see how that works. But definitely check out interval pinning. It's super handy.
Yeah, it's really cool. We're talking about resources for, learning Pinterest and Tailwind. Pinterest Academy is a great place. Happy Pin Design.
Oh, yes.
A lot of good stuff there. Also,
Yep.
Pinterest community is really, really good. There's a lot of stuff there that you can go and see people asking questions, follow those threads down and get some really good answers. I've been really finding that's a great place to go as well. Carrie says, can we have the link to the webinar here in YouTube? We will drop that in the YouTube comments as well, Carrie. Thank you for letting us know that. So we will do that. Before we move on to our second one, this is one we get a lot, but I think since we're talking about this, Tricia says, how many pins per day is the best for helping your reach on Pinterest? My Pinterest declined dramatically since November. What would you say, Elisa?
Okay. There is, unfortunately, this is one of those things where there's no magic number. Mm-hmm. Pinterest recommendation is add something new weekly. And when they talk about new, what they want is a new URL. So they want a new blog post, a new product, a new page, a new something, like a whole new thing. So I would try to work that in. Like, your pinning should be revolving more around these newer ideas rather than a lot of repinning. I will say that our traffic did fall in November as well, but it's starting to rebound. So I think, there are always going to be seasonal changes. And if you can compare to last year, that's the first place I would look to see, is this just a seasonal thing that's going to happen every year? And then that can help you. Another thing to do is to really look at the trends. So that Pinterest planner will help you. The Pinterest Toolkit will help you, so that you're always creating very relevant content for this time of year, which, if it's really good content, is going to surface again next year too. Mm-hmm. So as you start to create seasonal content throughout the year, as long as it stays relevant and good and people engage with it, it's going to keep coming up, and you're going to start to level off so that you don't see those massive dips and spikes that can make us feel terrible or wonderful. And we can just kind of even out. But there always will be seasonal changes, because people just are interested in different things at different times of year. If you look at your traffic on the 25th of December, I bet it's way, way down. It reflects real life.
Yeah. and if what people are interested in. Question from Mabel. She goes, how do some Pinterest influencers?
Oh man. Okay. Ooh, did we lose Jeff? Okay. I thought it was me. Right. The question was, how do influencers get so many pins? Do you mean like repins on their pins? Well, are you back?
Can you hear me? See me?
Yes.
Okay. How weird. Okay.
Yeah. You're like a little.
Oh, you're clear. You're clear now.
So weird. I just sent it on to you.
Oh.
Oh, so we were talking about how do influencers get so many pins. I think that means how do they get so many repins, or how much engagement on their pins? Is that okay? Yeah, I got an answer for that. What do you think, Jeff?
So I was saying, because they've been in it forever. Since most of the influencers have been on Pinterest, some of them have been since it was invite only. And I think that has a lot to do with it. They've got a huge back catalog of pins that continues to trickle in traffic. Pinterest knows they put out good stuff. I think a lot of that stuff has to factor into it. I would say most of the influencers are because of.
Uh-oh. I think you froze again, but okay, hopefully I'm not talking over you. So I have a thought that we've noticed that people who have more followers tend to get a lot more engagement, which we always talk about how follower count doesn't matter. And in a sense, that's always going to be true, right? Because it's not the number of followers, it's how engaged your followers are. So if these influencers are attracting many thousands of engaged followers, what that does is it means that the distribution of your content is going to go up, right? Because they show your content to your followers first. And that's kind of their first signal about the quality of your content. And then they use what they get from your followers and their engagement or lack of engagement to decide how far to share it. So if you have 100,000 or 200,000 followers on Pinterest and they're really engaged, then your content is going to go crazy and you're going to get those repins. So if, focus on getting those engaged followers by inviting your email list to follow you on Pinterest, having a pop-up on your site that encourages your blog readers to follow you. That's how you're going to get your engagement up and your traffic up.
That's what I agree. I agree with that. Can you hear me?
You didn't hear half of it. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I heard about it. So I was listening. It's really weird because I can hear and you're clear. And so we will just keep going on. So let's go on to, and just like say, Jeff, I can't hear you more. Am I talking and you can hear me? Okay. But first, if you guys are just joining us, make sure that you don't forget that we're running this special right now, that if you buy one annual plan on Tailwind, you get the half off your second annual plan. So if you're hearing Tailwind for the first time, you're like, this sounds like an amazing tool, I want some. Well, if you get this annual plan, and you get half off if you buy that second annual plan. So if you're already a customer, do not worry, because you can go to newyear@tailwindapp.com. So email newyear@tailwindapp.com and say, I want the deal, and they will give it to you. So you can get 50% off your second year as well. So
Jeff says I get a deal.
Yeah, get a deal.
All right, should we talk about the second one?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Our second resolution for Pinterest marketing success and success in life is to diversify your revenue streams. Doesn't that sound technical and exciting?
No, it's super smart. You think about the people who are doing it, they're doing well. So let me I'm going to do a fanboy thing real quick to two of my favorite people online. Okay. Matt Flynn, amazing, but he has diversified. He does a podcast. He does his live show. He invents things. I mean,
like what?
He makes me a little bit sick, but
what does he invent?
The Smart Pod, and he has this tripod thing that he invented, and he's selling that too. He's got this. He has software. He has a smart podcast player that he has. So he's got multiple. He's got affiliate marketing. So I mean, the dude's got it going on. So anyway, big fan of that. Another one would be like Lou Mangello, who once again has diversified, but he does the Walt Disney World Radio podcast, but also he does events, he speaks, he does all that. And you'd think like nobody can go to the Disney World right now,
right?
But his community he has built up. They love on him. He's still doing stuff. He's doing great. So yeah, cool. Diversify your revenue streams. Number 2.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of that because a lot of Tailwind members are bloggers, and they rely a lot on the traffic that comes to their blog to generate ad sales and other things. So let's talk about steps they could take. One of the first ways I diversified way back was to write an ebook that was for sale. And I sold it on Gumroad, which sounds like a weird place, but it was super easy to set up. And it's also really easy to update it. So if you're feeling like ebooks always need to be updated, this was really, really easy. Highly recommend. You can create courses. Now, Jeff, you just got done creating a course.
I did.
Give us some suggestions, and also tell them where they can find your course.
So yes, you can find it at Video Pin Ads 101 is where you can find it. Okay. So I did a challenge that went into talking about video pin ad course, and I have a course on that. But the cool thing is I used Thinkific to create the course. Make the things I used to have to do back in the day to make courses and e-commerce stuff was so much harder. Now it's not so hard. The one thing I learned at a bunch of conferences, if you have a course, then you could have a book. If you have a book, you should have a course, because they are easy to take up those chapters and sell those. So live videos you can package up and put into your course, build it as you go. There's tons of different ways that you can do courses, and just think, we're doing live video, and we've had people from Jamaica, from Ireland, all this stuff. Where could you ever do that before? I love live video for this reason, is that we can connect to you guys and talk with you. I mean, it's amazing. Thank you so much. So she dropped it in there. You can go there. I partner with Kim Garson, so you can go to Get Pinterest Video Ads 101 and check that out if you want. But then you can, the community, that community will say, hey, we want more. And in fact, after this course we did, that people ask us to have a paid Facebook group, and so we did that as well. So that is really cool. It's called Pins Made Simple. You can find that on Facebook, and but it's stuff happens when you start putting yourself out there and you start diversifying. And instead of thinking about that next thing, think about how you can repurpose. Like Elisa was talking about, she did an ebook, and that was from content she probably created on her blog post and packaged together, and kind of reformatted. People don't mind. They want it all in one spot. So think about how you can do that. If you have a product, could you bundle it with some other products and have like some cool list that you have, like on Pinterest, it's really big to have like gift guides. Could you make a gift guide? Maybe supplement one of your products with some affiliate stuff, whatever. I mean, it's just, there's so many options that you can do now to diversify. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned about the membership site, because I just bought a course from Smart Art Courses. It's 3 of my favorite fluid art painters, and I knew this course was coming. I was so excited for it, but I don't think there's a Facebook group with it. And so I'm thinking about asking them, hey, like, can we do this? Because I would pay for that. So that was one thing I really wanted your input on. Memberships, Facebook groups, like, I had one for the longest time for my Pinterest ads course. And it came along with the course, right? So if you get the course, you're in the group for life. How do you do it if it's kind of independent? Like if you want to have a paid Facebook group, how do you keep track of that? Do you know? There's
some software that you use, and Kim does a good, it can be a little bit scary. And there's software that can do that. One of the things I would caution you guys, the reason I really didn't want to have a paid Facebook group, and I was kind of hesitant. I do not like building all my my stuff on rented land, because these things are rented land. There's some other options. Mighty Network is another thing that's like a Facebook group that you could build that you own. So there's some stuff there. You've got to balance it between eyeballs. Like you get a lot of eyeballs and a lot of people on Facebook, but then also Facebook owns Facebook, and they could, pages used to be free and you didn't have to pay for reach, but they changed that. So that's one of the reasons on this live show, we go everywhere we can, because we don't know. Would Facebook someday say it's going to cost, $2 a show for you to go live? They could, they could do that. So that's why we diversify and go everywhere.
Yeah.
So it is exhausting. Like somebody said, Trona says, oops, she goes, brilliant. I'm just about to create ebooks and courses. I teach 1, 2, 3, but it's 1, 2, 1, but it's so time consuming. Yes. And so that's awesome, Trona, because you can create one thing. You may teach one person, but then you can resell it to a bunch. So that is super smart. But yes, it can be exhausting.
You can only scale yourself so much. So that's genius. And then you also mentioned about products like Pat with his inventions. We don't have to invent something to sell it. In fact, in a couple, I think it might be our next show, we have Jamie of Handmade Journey, and she is a very successful Etsy seller who is also really good with Pinterest, and she's going to be here to talk to us about how we can do that as well. I'm excited about that.
And everybody talks about niching down, and I'm a big fan of niching down, but it's also really good if you can actually diversify like we're talking about, because as we all know, the people who were able to do that during this unprecedented times with this COVID things, the people who were able to change and move were able to have a little bit, could weather the storm a little bit. And so it's always a good idea. You still want to be like, have a niche, but being able to, like Pat did, was kind of branch out, and software that made sense, that worked with this company, and products that made sense with this company. But you don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it all at once. So don't get stressed about that.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. The third one I think is not going to be very popular, Jeff.
Uh-oh. What is it? Oh, spend more time on your content. So what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is people will say, how do I succeed on Pinterest? How do I succeed on anywhere? And a lot of times it comes down to the content that you're creating. So it's more about the content than it is about any tactic. So I know that we've shared that banana video, Pinterest banana video before, but it's a great illustration of what this all comes down to. So the video, if you haven't seen it before, it opens with something like 1.485 million people are searching for banana ideas on Pinterest. But we don't want any more banana bread recipes. And then it will show you some like banana sushi and some other banana recipes. And the idea is we want brand new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is hard.
It is hard.
It's hard. It's going to get harder. And but the thing is, here's the other thing I want to say about this stuff. You're never going to be comfortable and go to the next level. Yeah. Whenever the thing that is going to take your business and your products and your Pinterest and all that stuff to the next level is being a little bit uncomfortable. And if you're feeling uncomfortable, then you're probably doing something right, because that's the only way change happens. Things, you can't, it's going to be hard. It's just going to be harder. We're seeing it with Pinterest. It's harder to be noticed because it's becoming more popular. So what do? Well, you got to create great content. And so that's hard, but we believe you can do it because you guys are smart. You can do it. Yeah.
So I have a challenge.
I
have a challenge for everybody. Go to pinterestpredicts.com if you haven't already been there, and look at some of these really interesting predicted trends for 2021, because last year Pinterest was right. And some of them
like
were
80%
weird.
Right, wasn't it?
Yeah, 80% right. And one of the ones they were wrong about was travel. So we give them a pass on that one. But if you go to pinterestpredicts.com, filter the trends by category and audience too, if that's applicable to you, find one of them and create some content about it. And it's going to be weird. Like cocoon swoon, or what is this? Food and beverage, you're the top chef, Japandi aesthetic. I mean, some things that I would have to Google, probably because I'm not in the right generation. But
and that's why things can take off. And I want to pull up Trona's comment. She goes, I had a client who created this totally unique recipe, and it does amazing on Pinterest. And she also takes lots of time getting the content right. She does so good on Pinterest and Google. So,
absolutely.
Instead of, and this is kind of our fault, I think, as pinners. We kind of got to that. We're just going to throw content out, and we're just going to be in the feed, and and it's going to take. I think it's going to move back the other way, where it's like, okay, I really thought about this pin. It didn't do as well as I can, but I'm going to tweak another one and move forward and keep going, and kind of instead of being a curation where we just curate and throw out content, I think it's going to be more of a crafting where we're going to be crafting content and really thinking hard about it, and then taking some time and maybe not putting as many pins as we were before, but really thinking that through and how to do it.
Yep. I completely agree.
So where can you find Pinterest trends? We've got that question.
Oh, the trends themselves. Okay. The one I was just talking about was Pinterest Predicts, and that's pinterestpredicts.com. Filter it by your category or your audience, and then click through, because then it will get you to the trending search terms. So this year, one of you will be writing about blue LED lights for bedroom. And I look forward to that pin. But the other place is trends.pinterest.com. And we are huge fans of trends.pinterest.com.
Right.
Jeff, there's something weird on trends.pinterest.com yesterday, and I'm hoping that it's like a pop thing that I don't know about. Why are daggers, castles, and crowns top trends for Pinterest this week? Like, overwhelmed.
Because it should be every week. That's awesome stuff.
It's very awesome, but I've never seen it before.
I don't know why it would be trending now. It's just very odd, unless it's some Christmas thing that came through that like popular kids thing. I don't know. Let us know in the comments if you know why in the world. Was it daggers, castles, and crowns?
Yes, and also ball gowns. So is it like Bridgerton?
Oh, I bet there's a new show on Netflix that
Bridgerton.
Yeah, that everyone's talking about. Maybe that has to do with it. I don't know.
That is so funny to me.
The things you learn on Marketing Unleashed at Tailwind, I tell you. By the way, so we're talking about planning. We have this planner that I want to make sure you guys do not miss. We have one for Pinterest. If you go to bit.ly/pin planner 2021, that's bit.ly/pin planner 2021. Go download that now, because it can be super helpful for this, what we're talking about right now, about spending some more time on your content. We also have one for Instagram. So you can go to bit.ly/instaplanner 2021. That's bit.ly instaplanner 2021.
So we probably lost everyone to go write their dagger aesthetic blog post, but if we haven't, some suggestions. Like, okay, I think, Jeff, you and I have come to peace with this. Sounds like Trona has that. Okay, we're going to have to spend more of our time on our content for it to work, right? So we've got to spend less of our time somewhere else. And my suggestion is to spend less time on your pin design by using Tailwind Create. I'm sure that's a big surprise to everyone that would be my tip. Do you have any other suggestions, Jeff?
I would just, what we've been saying is like, look at what's working and then try to do more. And sometimes it's, looking at your competitors, looking what's working in your niche, and then maybe just walking away, letting it soak in, trying to go outside for a while, then come back and design some pins and see how they do. And really check out those stats. So I think that's what I would say. And I want to go ahead to move on to our third and final thing that's going to be super important to do is it's time to get serious about your email list. We talked about before building on rented land. We talked about Facebook groups and how powerful they are, some of the negative things about those, but email is not dead, folks. It's still super powerful, and you own it, which is amazing. The more things that you can own, that you can send out messaging to, that you are in charge of, that you can add to, that you can curate, that nobody can take away from you, the better. So I would continue to use all those platforms. If you're selling something somewhere, make sure you collect those emails and then follow up with a newsletter or, whatever. I mean, it's so neglected. I know I neglect mine quite a bit, but it's super, super important.
Yep. The return on investment on email sends is higher than anything else. And it's been that way for years and years. And I think it's easy to overlook because it's not cool and it's been around a long time. It almost feels old fashioned at this point, but that's where the money is, right? So you can get really great brand awareness on Pinterest. You can build great community on Instagram, but then really where the sales come from a lot of times is going to be your email list. So get people from Pinterest to your site, to your email.
What are some good ways to do that, Elisa?
Yeah. So we use pop-ups. We use, I think they're exit intent
pop-ups, right?
Yeah, but they work.
So yeah, they do work. But the thing is, you can do pop-ups in a good way. First of all, you need to, this is Pinterest we're talking about. Make sure your pop-ups work correctly on mobile. Nothing will make me, I don't throw my phone, but never go to your site again if I can't find the X button to go away or click through to the content because it's covering up something, because people haven't tested it on mobile, and that's where everybody's coming from on Pinterest. So double check that. Also, if you're running ads, and we've talked about this before, especially video ads, which I really, really like, because they, your site loads underneath that video ad that's playing. Make sure your pop-up, if you have one on that ad you're sending people to, is going to be at the top of the screen, or it's not covering up stuff that you want them to click on. So double check when you're running those ads that there's not something funky going on with your pop-up, or it's going to have one of those exit intent ones that a lot of people don't think about, that'll pop up and cover up something like, buy now or something like that.
It's a great idea.
So
Jeff, there are a couple of things in the January page of the Pinterest planner that I wanted to point out, if we have a minute for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what to pin? Guess what? We're already thinking about springtime.
Oh, goodness.
Spring cleaning, spring break, gardening ideas, organization. I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm still enjoying hibernation. But it also will have in there a monthly action item. So this month's monthly action item is to check and make sure that your boards are still effective and make sense for your business. So you might have a board you haven't pinned to in a year and you're not creating content for that. Do you want to keep that board? Yeah, like archive it unless it's bringing in a lot of engagement and traffic for you. Board Insights and Tailwind can help you a lot. And the reason I really wanted to bring this up is because we're getting a lot of questions about group boards recently. I don't know if you've seen that too, Jeff. Mm-hmm. People asking, should I still use group boards? And the answer, and you've probably heard us say this before if you're a longtime listener, but is it depends. So, and I always hate that answer, but Pinterest created group boards for people to collaborate on. So if you're using it to collaborate with people, as in you're planning a trip with friends and you're all saving stuff in there you want to do, that's great. That's awesome. That's what they're there for. If you're using it because you heard that when you share a pin to a group board, it will be shown to the followers of all the members of that group board, this is no longer true. Pinterest figured out that we were using them that way. They were like, no. We were misusing them because it was a loophole, and now they're not for distribution. So if that's what you're looking for, don't.
So as we kind of wrap this up, we're talking about email lists now and spending more time on your content, but a lot of people are asking, hey, what programs are good for your email list? If you're just free ones are fine. Just start collecting them. You can always check those and change them later. I use a ConvertKit. They have a free one up to, I think, 1,000. Active Campaign is another good one. I know Tailwind uses Drip. And so all those are good. There's different price points. What'd you say? I
used MailChimp because it was super easy.
Yeah. So, because what you can do if you need to, you can always migrate them. You can download them and migrate them to another ones. Most of them are like free to a certain point. And when you start paying, that's a good thing. Because just make sure you're using your email list, because those people have signed up for content from you. So once again, those would be ConvertKit, which I love and which I use. Active Campaign, as I know a lot of people use. Drip is another one, and MailChimp. There's also Aweber has a free one as well. So anything like that you can start collecting that can help you make a form really easy on your website. Most all of those that I just mentioned allow you to do that. So just set it up and start using it.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you have any other questions, or should we just talk about that special offer one more time?
Yes, but I do want to make sure that we've talked about the special offer, but we've got the Pinterest Toolkit, which has the new design. So bit.ly/TW Pinterest Toolkit. Go there to download the new January templates if you want those. But also, like we said, we've got the special buy 1 year, get one half. Almost said free. Oops, that would be bad. It's not free. It's half.
Definitely pay the extra.
Yeah. No. if you're already a Tailwind person, a subscriber, and you use Tailwind and love it, and you want to get that deal, make sure that you go and just email newyear@tailwindapp.com. That's newyear@tailwindapp.com. Give them your Tailwind email and also your username, and they will take care of that for you. Lickety split.
You got it.
So I want to say thank you to you guys all watching today. Gosh, you guys are all up in the comments. So the links again, the 2 Pinterest links again, trends, and what was the other one that you were talking about?
It was pinterestpredicts.com. That's where it replaces the Pinterest 100. So
Okay, pinterestpredicts.com. So go check that out. So many of you guys, thank you, Trona, for being here. We've got Catherine saying, all these great comments. Happy pin design, all for your comments. We thank you guys so much. Let us know what you would like to hear in 2021. What kind of content would you like us to bring you? Get special guests. We've done some pin reviews. Those were a lot of fun. We did some video pin reviews. We're going to have to do some of those again, but we had our Tailwind's designers on giving you tips. Let us know what you would like for 2021, and we will try to bring that to you, because this is all about you. We really want to make this for you guys. We appreciate every one of you. And with that, Elisa, I'll let you have the last word for the first of 2021.
Wow. So rather unexpectedly, we have made February the month of video on Pinterest for our Facebook Live. So we're going to have a couple shows about some cool tools that are really easy to use. And Jeff is going to make us experts on those in an hour or less. So I look forward to that. Thank you very much. And of course, you can use those for other networks as well, and to put on your blog and all that good stuff. We also have an e-commerce guest coming up. And I still want to do the Pinterest ads show.
With the ads rep?
Yes. Yeah. I just have to get my act together and send them the questions that we want to ask them. So if you have particular questions, drop them in there. I will snag those and get my act together. Cool. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everybody.
With that, see you guys later. Have a great day and be safe. Talk to you later. Bye.